It's not always about thriving because in my mind, thriving also goes with surviving, right? Because there are adversities that you cannot thrive through, but just by surviving through them creates it creates thriving. Once you condition yourself to figure out solutions, then you're on the path to thriving. Thriving isn't a dollar level. It's not a financial reward. It's not a reaching a certain goal. It's surviving the adversities. It really is. And I'll go back to that many times. Life is a roller coaster, and we've got to, you weather the bad times, you weather the downslopes so that you can enjoy the upswings, right? And you have to go and build a truth group around you, some group of people that you can reach out to and share your truth no matter where you were at that moment. And for me, because of everything I went through as a child, that was one of the hardest things I had to learn, was my truth has a value, my truth is valuable, and I need to share it with those I care about, and allow those people to care about me, which even at 41 years old, I'm still learning that, right? This is a evolutionary process for any human, but even for me right now at 41, I'm still evolving. Um, whether it was the abuse that helped create worthlessness for myself, whether it was the shame, the anxiety, the guilt, the overwhelming complex emotions that I never really understood as a very young child, all the way up through my drinking and drug and alcohol use. Um, Drinking and drug and alcohol doubled, but drinking and alcohol use, or drinking and drug use, from the age of, I started drinking at 9 and I got sober at 27. I missed a whole developmental level of my life. And what I have learned in the 14 years since is I have a long way to go, and I still do today. It's not about being there, it's about the journey to get there. And thriving to me is that constant of evolutionary state of learning, absorbing, accepting, and moving forward. You own what you do, you own your errors along the way, you live up to them. And as long as you keep that candid honesty with those in your circle, then you will be stronger than ever. For me, it was a matter of losing everything numerous times, right? Like, at a young age, I thought money was the most powerful thing in the world. I thought financial success was great. So I had to learn that lesson and lose everything again and lose everything again. And it finally sunk in. I'm a little stubborn than most. It's okay. It's because every step of the way I learned something about myself, something about how I react to things, and something about how I grow through them. Um, and even at the time when surviving might just be literally laying in bed all day crying, right? Because that's still surviving, because you're not giving up and you're not walking away. Like, there's a level of accepting things for what they are, having the emotions, letting the emotions play out, accepting those emotions, crying through it, being angry through it, processing them. That is thriving. That is excelling. That is growth, personal growth, future growth, and setting yourself up to build on top of as you move into the next categories. It's, for me, the adversities are almost like great challenges that I look forward to now. In a Not because I'm a masochist, well, not anymore, but because I honestly know that I can get through anything. And in some ways, I'm more comfortable when I'm in that mode of getting through an adversity than I am even in thriving in everyday life. Thriving in everyday life is scarier to me. It's funny. I feel like when things are going good is when I start getting really terrified of myself, because I don't have enough experience of doing that yet. So I've got years to go before I can get there. But it's a learning process every day, and I'm willing to take that journey to get there. I feel the whole process and the whole point of thriving and overcoming and getting through is the adaptability to be able to bounce back, recover, and grow through any experience. It's not how we get knocked down, it's how we get back up that defines us. So we need to find those pieces, and we need to find those little things to grab onto. And when things are at their worst and things seem darkest and things seem hopeless and they feel like there is no solution, that's when I'm at my best, right? Because I've been there so many times. But the truth is, that's when I think we're all at our best, if we put ourselves in the correct perspective. The trick is to become objective, to look outside yourself, to see the potential solutions that can be there, and also just accept the fact that it sucks, right? Like, that's just part of it. It's not always going to be good. No one came into this world and said every day is going to be good, so just go have it. That's not it. It's the evolutionary process of a human life as we go through our stages of life, that we pick up these little tricks and tools of adapting and growing, and I'm very repetitive with certain words because they mean that much to me. It really means that much. The adaptability, and here comes my 3-year-old, so get ready for this. The adaptability is really what defines us, and that is a way that we can overcome anything. Even a 3-year-old coming into a live stream, who's very antsy, very picky, and now playing with my coffee, the one thing in the world that she knows better. So only thing I can get upset truly about. Leave the coffee, baby. But I feel like even my current situation, right? I took my kids out of an abusive situation. I got emergency custody. A week later, we went into COVID, and I've been stranded since. 1,200 miles from home, 1,200 miles from my support group, 1,200 miles away from my life. I didn't get paid. I still haven't gotten paid. And you know what? It's amazing because yes, it bothered me, and for 4 or 5 weeks, it ate me up and it tore me to shreds. But now I look at it, and it's the biggest gift in the world, because what my kids needed most was me, and they have that right now. They have me at my best. They have me at my worst. They have me when I yell at them. They have me when I'm hugging them. But it's life. And I teach them that I accept it by apologizing, owning it, and moving forward, right? Because if I judge myself, if I hold that against myself the whole day, then my day is lost and their day is lost. So what am I teaching them? Because they learn from the interactions that we have. So no matter what they've gone through, I'm teaching them that they can overcome it in their own way. And I'm teaching them that they have the power to do that for themselves, and that they can process and they can grow from it. And I'm not saying that it's great circumstances. I'm not saying that I wish it upon anyone, but the adversity will teach them to be so much better as it evolves forward through their life. They will grow and be empathetic, compassionate children beyond maybe others that never had to go through these experiences. And not that it's a blessing to go through something, but everyone goes through something. And if you can teach them to survive and thrive through it, then they've already won the game. That's it. They've already won. Nothing else matters, because they can overcome anything. We can go back to labels in school and how my children have been labeled and how I was labeled in school. And even those simple adversities, in kindergarten, I was told that I was too slow and I wasn't developing fast enough. So they put me into something called pre-first, which I don't even think is something that exists anymore. But then by 5th grade, I was in gifted. By sixth grade, I was in all AP classes. By 7th grade, they called me retarded, which I would never use that word in general statements today, but they called me that, right? And then by 8th grade, I'm getting thrown out of my middle school and thrown out of the county school system for a year. So I went to a private high school. I did very well the first year, and then from that point forward, and by 11th grade, I was asked to leave 2 high schools. That's how I dealt with things. I didn't know how to handle things. I didn't know how to overcome adversities. I didn't know how to thrive in not being okay. I was taught at a young age that not being okay is not okay. I was a crier. I wet the bed till 8 years old. I was so emotional, and I was so overwhelmed with emotions that I was always taught, I'm a man. That's not how you do things. That's not the truth. That's who I am. And I accept that today, and I thrive in that today. I don't wet my bed anymore, so that's good. I all these pieces make me who I am, and I'm not ashamed of a single one of them, because the mistakes was my lessons, the errors, the bad things, the things that I did wrong to others. I own that responsibility to the best of my ability. And if I couldn't make it up to every single one of them, then I spend the rest of my life giving back to others and helping every person I come across. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to tip that scale of balance, but I'm going to do my best to do it. And it's also such a better way to live. And no matter how bad my day is, actually, to be honest, the worse my day is, the more I want to help others. The more I go out of my way to lift others up and go out of my way to make introductions, to introduce them to business ideas, to help them with strategy of their businesses, to help them see things that are better for them. And by the end of the day, I feel good again. By the end of the day, those things don't bother me anymore, because I got outside of myself and I still found ways to overcome and thrive, right? And sometimes it's really just that simple. You look at your problems, you think they're the worst in the world. There's a million people that you could reach out to that I'm sure that are worse, especially now. I mean, now is an extreme, right? Now is, if this lasts for years, whatever this circumstance is, it's going to go down in the history books like the Depression if they're willing to share the truth about it. But at that point, it's going to be able to, you're going to be able to thrive and help others get through it. And if you look for those resources, those outlets, those ways to do it, you're going to improve yourself, and you're going to, improve them, and you're going to help them. And before you know it, it becomes a pattern and it becomes your routine. And there are much worse addictions, patterns, and routines to create for yourself than helping others. And if you want to know more about the worst ones, I can explain those to you in detail in a personal conversation, because I went through those also. Bear with me one second. Sorry about that. I had to explain to them that they needed to go back to the room for a period of time. Maybe I'll buy myself another 15, 20 minutes. It's the best we can do, right? We're all parents, teachers. We're all have our kids around. We can let it consume us. We can let it engulf us. We can let it overcome us. We can allow to collapse under the circumstance, or we choose to thrive. We choose to do the best we can. And I have horrible days. I have days where I'm yelling at them, where I'm just freaking out. The place isn't clean. That bothers my OCD. It irks me as I look around the place right now. It's really getting to me. But the reality is I'm doing the best I can. I'm a single dad of 3, and my resources are limited as far as human resources. So I do the best I can with it. We go to Walmart, we get two grocery carts, because it's the only way to shop with 3 kids. You put the two needy ones in the two most non-listening, or the 2 most anxious, or the 2 that are going to literally throw the most in the carts themselves, and then you and the other one push. But it's about adapting, right? And when I first went to Walmart with the 3 of them, it used to freak me out. It used to make me upset. I used to yell at them, and when I would leave feeling guilty and feeling bad, and it was just a horrible experience to buy food. It's not like I can't buy food. We kind of need that. So I had to find and create a small way to make it work. And it might not be the best example, but it's an example of everyday life. When you look for solutions, you can find them. You can create them. And when you become that solution mindset, or you become that thriving mindset, you become the overcome attitude. You become a resource to others to create solutions. When you start having a bad day, somebody's going to reach out to you for something. And at that point, you have that conscious decision. Do you help them, or do you sit back and just wallow? And if you create that pattern in your mind, you're going to help them. And the minute you're done helping them, you don't even know what you were wallowing about anymore. You don't know what was engulfing you. You don't know what was consuming you, because it doesn't matter. It's a momentary pause in life, no matter what's engulfing you. And it could be something major. It could be something horrendous. You could have lost 3 out of 5 of your family members, right? You could have lost your direct family, right? Your mother, father, sister, brother. You could have lost all of them at once. And at the end of the day, maybe they gave their lives so that you can continue to live yours. There's a way to look at things. I lost my aunt, I lost my mother, I lost many things along the way in this journey, and I didn't get enough time with my certain family members because I was, not sober for so long of it, and I wasted a lot of those times and memories on doing the wrong things. But what time I did get with them and what time I did have with them, I maximized and I owned it. I accepted it. They watched me change. They watched me evolve. And that's a situation that not everybody gets because sometimes you lose those people too soon and you don't get the change before that happens. That was a blessing and a gift to me. The fact that I had time to show that I changed and evolved made them more comfortable with what they personally were going through. It's it's a matter of, it really does go back to my repetitive words of the evolution, the adaptability, the problem solving, you know, acceptance. It's when I got sober, I used to hate that word. Oh my God, was that a word that I just despised? You're telling me if I can accept things that I'm going to stay sober? I thought they were crazy. I thought they were insane, right? Like I'm sober 14 years and I'm literally looking at these people. These are guys with 30 years, 50 years, they're 80 years old, they've been sober forever. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, you guys are nuts. There is no way that accepting things will change my life that drastically. And I've got to be honest, I'm still not great at it. I still like to control everything. I still like to be able to control my own narrative, and I still tell myself stories, and I still get insecure, and I still get scared, and I still have fear. But truth of the matter is, I say yes to everything because if I force myself to do it, then I'm going to get over it. I teach myself that I can do things. I've never done this before, but I'm okay with that. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be me one way or another. And just as because it's me where I am today, doesn't mean it's me where I am 5 years from now. Doesn't mean it's me where I am in a week from now. Because if I'm learning every day, then 7 days from now, I'm a different person again. It's that constant growth, that constant just accepting and overcoming. It's the little tricks, the little things in your life that you can grab, pinpoint, and control, right? Because we control very little in our own lives. Let's not kid ourselves. We have almost no control in our own lives. What we do have control of is how we react to those circumstances and how we react to those things. I don't even know what she said. We can control our reactions. And if we process, accept what we can't control, and then go to controlling our reactions, we're already in a different mindset. We're already in an elevated point. We're already in that next move step. And we can come up with a solution, a problem solve, a interesting commentary, an interesting piece, an interesting part, and be able to apply that immediately, impact our lives and whoever else is involved, right? Because it's never just us. That's another thing. We are never alone in anything. We feel alone. I'm 1,200 miles from my life. Like, I feel alone. But truth of the matter is, I'm never alone, ever. Not a moment of the day, not a moment that I'm breathing. There are people in my life that are so special to me that I feel them like they're next to me. And I allow those people in today. When I got to say, the first 41 years, I really didn't. I pushed it away. I was scared, because if I let people in, I get hurt. So the easy reaction is I can control my reaction, which is don't let anyone in. So there's so many layers to this, and there's so many pieces to thriving through adversities. And no matter what the adversity is, I mean, I can give you a list of just some of them, right? I've OD'd and flatlined over 10 times in my life. I tried to kill myself once when I was younger. I almost drowned twice. I was bullied to no end until I hit a growth spurt, and then I wasn't bullied anymore. I I was, you know, I always tried to be that person that I thought everybody else wanted to be because it was just easier rather than just being me because I was terrified of being me. But the more I look at it, the more I survived in these adversities. That's how I built me. That's how I built who I am today. The house fires, the getting evicted, my soon to be ex wife getting institutionalized 3 times in 4 months. And because of that, I was forced by child services to quit my jobs. And we lost everything. In a matter of 3 months, we lost everything. We went from having a nice car, a nice house, to literally living in a timeshare and car getting repoed. Like, I mean, it was that much, it was that quick of a turnaround. And we survived. Well, I survived. We did it, but I did. Um, and it was seeing how to. It was everything that led me up to that point. It was every mistake along the way, every error I made in judgment, every time I did something wrong. It was learning every single time. And then it was also learning from other people's mistakes, absorbing knowledge from others so that I don't have to pay that tax, as Dave Meltzer says, right? Why pay the dummy tax if somebody already made the mistake? And that comes down to empathy and compassion because you have to be able to empathize with what that person has gone through to actually be able to absorb how they bounce back from it. You can't bounce back from it if you don't know, if you don't feel what they actually feel. You can on a mental level, but the emotions run deep, and the emotional side of it is very different. And no, you have no diaper on. So since I'm live all over the world, let's not try to stay out of the view of the camera with no diaper, child. Um, it's it's a matter of you just push forward. You just do. You find that answer. You find that solution, and it never seems easy. But truth of the matter is, when you're able to create that pattern in your life, and you able to mentally accept that surviving is thriving, because a lot of people don't survive. A lot of people completely crumble, and you know what? That's okay too, because you can come back from that also, and you can come back from being broken in a million pieces. You can come back from anything. Everybody just has different extremes of how broken they need to be able to piece it back together. It's almost that simple. I don't know what else to say. So maybe there's a Q&A or something that we can move into. I think I've hit those same words enough times at this point.
I have one question. So when you're in a situation, is acceptance the first step, or like,
Oh God,
or
no.
is it just
Not for me.
like, what is the first step usually?
If it's sad, I cry my brains out. If it's anger, I lose my mind and I go and I let it out. If it's happiness or if it's, because remember, there's also happy adversities, right?
Yeah.
Because you can go to the extreme of when you're too happy.
Mhm.
And if you go to the extreme of too happy, then you're still in another extreme. So how do you balance that back out to make that progress?
Yeah.
You go to the too happy, euphoric, manic, whatever state you want to call it, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes you miss a bunch of steps in between and you just fall, it just collapses out from under you.
Mhm.
So my first process for me is to let the feelings flow, whichever side it is. Once I process the feeling,
Mhm.
then I can do acceptance. And then I've got to deal with my own mind, which is a whole nother dangerous level, right? Because dealing with my mind is just a dangerous place. Because in our mind, we can create any story.
Mhm.
So it's a matter of, but once you're emotionally grounded and you allow that to process, once you accept it, if you go to the mind last, you're already at a much stronger position to be able to handle whatever that mental side of this is.
Yeah. Yeah. I see another question. I lost it. It was, how do you not let people, you let people in, but you don't let them in too much so that you preserve your sanity? Am I getting that right, Marie? So, yeah, how do
Okay,
you?
so for me, that comes to what I'm learning today, right? And I'm still learning this, right? This is something that I've never been good at, which is setting boundaries. I'm horrible at setting boundaries, right? It's
Me
always been all
too.
or nothing for me. I go all in, I give it everything I have, and then damn, that person hurt me, even though it was me that went all the way in. So part of it is owning, right? You've got to realize that if you're that type of person that goes all in, you've got to own that. You've got to understand that it's your fault, but it's also okay. You've got to also know that it's okay to be who you are. It's okay to be that person that goes all in, because you know what? That is a gift that very few people have. So you have to accept that gift, but then you also have to start creating boundaries, and you have to create a way, in a healthy way, to allow those that you trust most in the most, and the ones that are wobbling back and forth, or the ones that are pushing to get in for some reason and you don't know why, right? Their intent isn't clear, or they're not sure. You need to kind of be a little weary of it. You need to sit back and be a little bit more analytical about it and understand the process. Like, I'm a big process person. I'm a big analytical person. I'm an extreme overthinker. So that's just part of it, right? Like, I think in my sleep. It's crazy. And I feel like, you know, it's good and bad. Again, it's a blessing and a curse, right? I never feel rested, but I also see solutions before they're even there yet, because my mind's always thinking of potential outcomes, always thinking of these different scenarios. So if you're letting people in and you're getting hurt too much, then you have to identify what you're doing wrong, own the part that you're doing wrong, and then you find a healthy boundary on how to protect yourself, almost like a level in between. And you need to figure that out for yourself. That is a personal decision.
Yeah. So what about, so Marie has another one.
Sure.
What are simple approaches to being emotionally intelligent during these difficult times? She says, I find myself snapping lately.
Everybody's snapping. It's okay to snap. Why is it not okay to snap?
It's
Why is
okay.
it not okay? Why is it not okay to be not okay? Accept the fact that you're not okay. Nobody's okay right now. Don't let anyone fool you. You could be a billionaire, but they're losing 100 million a day. So what does that tell you? You know, it's just scale of issues. Nobody is okay. Nobody is perfect. Accept the fact that you are going to learn through this. Accept the fact that the world is going to be different whenever this calms down. Like, in reality, calms down, not when both sides of the media or the government tells you it calms down, but when it really calms down, right? And also look for real facts, because hearing both sides of the news media right now, or seeing both political sides, and without looking for your own facts, is a very large issue in this country right now. Because we're so used to listening, to believing what we hear. So rather than do that, do your own research. And just accept the fact that it's okay not to be okay. The minute you allow yourself to not be okay, you're going to feel better because you're not. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you're not feeling okay. Then you're putting pressure on yourself because you're not feeling okay, and then it just creates this cycle in you, and it just builds this angst up, and that's just angst, and it's building up, and it's bubbling over, and it's overflowing. And at the end of the day, if you just accept it and you just acknowledge it, and you understand that I'm not going to be okay every day right now. I'm going to yell at my kids one day more than the other. I'm going to have days where I look at them and I just start crying because I don't even know what I'm doing right this second, right? Like, I don't know what's going on. Hi, baby. Why are you pouting? I mean, I understand why you don't have a diaper. Nobody likes diapers, but why are you pouting? Okay. You want grandma?
Yeah.
So go ask Michelle to call.
No,
I can't.
you call. No,
Right.
Daddy call. Real life here, CDPD.
Michelle.
Mike is a single dad of 3 little ones. How old is your oldest, Mike?
10, 8, and 3. It's quite
10, 8, and 3. So he's doing this.
I've gone through 2 birthdays since I've been here.
And I don't know if you guys cut on late. So Mike went to get his kids from his ex-wife.
Oh, Grandma, on
Out of an
your
abusive situation right before the quarantine. He's from Florida. He went to get his children from Arkansas. Is that it, Mike?
No, Arkansas. Yeah, Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
And he got stuck. So he's stuck with his 3 little ones in a state where he has no support system because of the COVID outbreak pandemic. So he's not, he's away from everyone who could help him in his immediate family. So he went thinking, I'm just going to go scoop up my children and come back home. And so he's faced with this now. So it's been 3 months, Mike?
4
4
March
months.
6th.
And he's living in an Airbnb, so someone's getting a nice chunky check from him.
I am living the life of chaos, and that is okay. And honestly, I'm okay with the chaos today.
Mm-hmm.
I accepted it. There's nothing I can do to change it. There's one judge for 5 counties. So what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And they didn't really understand Zoom too much out here. So there wasn't a lot of Zoom here. You just got to do the best you can.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. And you just find ways and you find the things. I found that because I'm stuck out here, I have time. Hang on one second. You have Grandma on the phone? Grandma's on the phone. Go in the room and talk to her. You said you wanted to talk to Grandma. Go talk to Grandma.
I forgot.
Oh.
Did I say that?
and then the oldest tells me, oh, well, she's got to call right back. Okay. So this is life, right?
Yeah, it's real life.
I can get freaked out about it. I can get upset about it. Or I could just laugh at it because at some point it's just hysterical. Yeah. You just got to laugh because laughing heals ourselves. Laughing is the biggest cure. Even if it's a statistic. Wow, that's loud.
Creating. Okay, let me see what we say, Marie. So she says, creating healthy. How does one do this? Because I tend to build walls around me. I tend to shut you out completely when I am hurt.
I mean, I shut everyone out. Like, I spent years shutting everyone out. Again, it comes down to acknowledging and accepting and owning your side of it. And then going from there. That's YouTube on my daughter's phone. That's how loud that is. So
she's gonna run you out of there, huh?
I'm telling you, she's gonna run me out of Arkansas by her choice. It really comes down to acknowledge and accept. The first step of anything is just acknowledging it, processing. As far as emotional walls, as far as emotional boundaries, you have to look at it and own your side. You cannot change somebody else's side, but you can control and change your side.
Yeah.
So once you identified your side, going forward, it gets much easier because you already let it go. Once you identify your side, it's already let go.
Yeah.
You don't judge yourself. You don't hold it against yourself, and you grow from it. And that's it. That's all it is. It's a matter of, you just do it, right? We can talk about it all day and we can say, well, what's the steps? What's the process? Doing it. I mean, that's it. It's taking the action.
Yeah, taking the action.
Taking the action is the hardest thing.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask, this is my question. So, you went to get the kids, now you're almost 4 months stuck. What would you say? So you've grown, what would you say you've learned most?
I'm eating Southern food. So I'm eating Southern food. There's a lot of growing going on. Hasn't helped me being gluten-free, but that's okay. What have I learned? I've evolved so much. I've changed so much. I've grown so much. I've spent hours crying. I've spent hours writing. I've been listening to Brene Brown books and dealing with my work shame, my things that have been holding me back since I was a kid, right? And I look at the abuse I went through as a child as a blessing now because it's helping me help them.
Yeah.
It's giving me an empathetic side and understanding to be able to help them and help others, right? So I've learned that. I've also learned that I am a lot more resilient than I thought I was.
Yeah, I think we all learn that when we get through, right? We always surprise ourselves.
That's pretty standard across the board, I think, for every living human being on the planet. so we can all unite over that.
Yeah.
I learned that I guess I'm more creative than I thought I was, or that I believed I was, or that I allowed myself to believe I was, depending on how you want to create terminology, right? Because I always spent so much time telling myself I'm not good at things that, you know, who knows what's real and what's not anymore. So I just started saying yes to things and doing it. And I've come out of my own way. And I think that was the solution and the answer that changed.
My phone.
Shell has it, whoever has it, the oldest one has it.
I don't remember the names either.
My grandmother used to do that and used to drive me nuts.
I just
I'm now
did that the other day.
I mean, I named the three of them and I still can't remember.
Yes.
It's just nuts sometimes. Like your head just gets wrapped around it. But no, I mean, I've learned a lot about my creativity, and I've learned a lot to appreciate myself more around it, and the fact that I can thrive in that as well, right?
Yeah.
The fact that I'm okay just surviving. I don't need to be raking in the money. I don't need to be changing the planet. I don't need to be saving the whales today, right? Because I can't even walk my way out of a house without a face mask. So there's no saving whales today, right? I feel like I've accepted the fact that surviving in reality is thriving.
It's thriving. Surviving is thriving. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Marie says, thank you. She says your response validates her approach, and that was before, not for the last three, but I just wanted to give you that thank you. Is anyone, you know, it's a time lag, a little bit of a lag with the live. I don't have any more questions. Let me just say this, Mike. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with?
I don't know. I really don't know, right? It goes back to the same words. It's all that adapt, thrive, accept, and just live. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to allow the emotions to flow. It's okay. You got to find that group of people that you trust, that you implicitly trust in your life, and that you do let in. You have to let some people in. You have to teach yourself to do that. And allowing those people in will create your circle of trust. Like if you want to go back to Meet the Fockers, or if you want to, whatever it is, right? Like you can choose any movie, you can choose any TV show. It's that circle of trust, those people in your circle that no matter how bad or good of a time you're having, you can share your fears, concerns, anxieties, whatever it is, and just get it off your chest without judgment. Because that's the key. If they judge you and they critique you and they're always criticizing and they're always saying, well, this is what happened in the past, so you're going to do this again. You don't need that in your life. You don't need that negativity. And I'm not saying you cut people out of your life, but you push them away a little bit until they see that you've changed, and either they come back to you and say, that's awesome, and they're more positive, or you just keep them at a further arm's length. And it's okay to outgrow people. And I'm going through that myself right now. It's hard, and it's guilty feeling, and it's guilt-ridden. But at the end of the day, I'm doing this for me, and I'm doing this for my kids, and I'm doing this for people in my circle.
Yeah.
So how can I not be proud of myself for growing?
Yeah.
Even if it is from fried food.
But look, the whole world is. Everyone is quarantining. We are all, you know, gaining from some kind of food.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't worry about that one.
I'm an hour and a half from Starbucks, so there, you know, that's when you know you're far out in nowhere, right?
Oh yeah, you are.
When you can't even go get a coffee.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you came to talk with us today, Mike. I want you to come back. I think you were just getting warmed up. I want you to come back. I'm going to talk to Annie. I'm going to let Annie give you a topic next time.
Oh boy.
And I want you to come back in. I think you should come regularly if you're open for it, because I think you can affect a lot of change. We'll get a lot more people that will watch this on the replay. Let me just check again and see. I don't have any more questions. Okay, I just want to check because I get that lag. But I thank you for coming out today, Mike. You know, you have the open invite, and I'm gonna pull Annie aside and find out what I need to hear you talk about in the group.
I will,
Knows you better.
whenever you want me here, I will accept. So
All
that's,
right, Mike.
I will leave it in your hands, because if you expect me to come to you, it probably won't happen.
No, I know.
But
That's why I'm going to talk to
I,
Annie, and I'm going to find out what are the 3 topics we should give Mike to come back into the group.
Annie can definitely force topics.
Yes.
He knows me better than most.
Yes, and then CDPD, I just want to say Mike is a friend to us. He's a member of CDPD. He's also a friend to the group, and he has connected me with amazing resources and people who are going to support us, who have already been supporting us here in the group. So remember, Mike is on LinkedIn. I will drop his profile. If you're not connected to Mike, get connected with him. If you'd like to know more about his story, which is amazing, then connect with him and schedule some time to chat with him virtually on the phone, or just, through messages. He's an amazing connection, and I'm glad that we did connect, and I know that we will stay connected and do some great things together.
100%, and I appreciate you for having me. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
No problem, Mike. All right, you have a great day.
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye.